The temple prostitute and the word Keleb with a K, not Caleb as the leader at the time from the tribe of Judah during the first Exodus, but Keleb, which is normally defined as a dog, and it's used 32 times, and almost every single time it's referring to a dog. And what is it? Now, we have some additional insight from Judah in Genesis, where Judah's sons had died because they were not holy or righteous, and the wife of one of the children needed to be married to one of the other children. And Judah basically said, you know, my sons are dropping like flies. He's got this one youngest son, and he's hesitant to give that son up to be married to the wife. So he tells her to wait for a while. And she realizes he's not going to do this. So she goes and takes off her veil of mourning, and he sees her and thinks that she is a prostitute. And he basically asks, how much to sleep with you? And they agree to a price, and she gets pregnant from the encounter. And when he realizes that it was her later on, he sends for her because he's going to kill her, because she's become a temple prostitute. And I think that's a real issue. You know, obviously, there was no temple at that time. It's just Judah. I mean, he's one of the sons of Jacob. So we don't have a temple at that time. So it's not the temple prostitute that they actually have somebody out at the temple, but more so, as I look at it, as somebody who is from our tribes who has become a prostitute. If they want to sell themselves for sex, then they're not going to live too long. And so Judah sends for her to say, you know, I'm going to kill you. And she proves that in fact it was him that slept with her. And then he realizes she's more holy than I was, because she made sure she got pregnant so that she could pass on the lineage of my son. And it's kind of a weird thing. But then we also have in Deuteronomy 23 verses 17 and 18 about these two abominations. Do not bring this type of money in. And one of them is that temple prostitute, which I think the situation with Judah in Genesis helps define what that is. And the other one is this word Keleb. Now, we see it sometimes it's defined as a male prostitute, and that's a possible variation. But let's think about that for a moment. Who is somebody going to sell themselves to as a male prostitute? Because if you do it to another male, which is where generally a male prostitute would sleep with another male, they're both dead, because that's homosexuality. So that doesn't work. And I don't think we would have the women, probably a widow or something, hiring a man to sleep with them. I don't think that would work. Now, maybe from the outer nations, maybe that happens. That's kind of pushing things a little bit. I'm going to sneeze in a second. Excuse me. So, I don't think that works, but it's a possible interpretation for Keleb. And the other one for Keleb is a pagan sacrifice. And so, the word used of don't allow this thing to come in, the price from that, the word is meeker, which is price, money, cost, hire, or wages. And we can think, oh, well, okay, well, don't let the wages of the prostitute come in, or the wages from a pagan sacrifice come into the temple. But the problem with that is when it described the woman in the same verse, it uses wages, which is a different word, which is ethnen. So, doesn't it kind of indicate that meeker is meaning something else? But again, those are two abominations to the Creator. So, we can't do this. Now, luckily, when we go back to the kingdom, this is going to be defined for us rather quickly. So it'll be taken care of. We don't have, I cannot imagine that we are sending that money right now into the temple, but I'll leave it at that. Obviously I don't think our women should be prostitutes. Neither do I think our male should be. And if you do any pagan sacrifice if you get money, I would not bring it in. And weirdly enough, because of the situation and the way it's defined right now, let's assume that you are a dog breeder. I would not bring those wages or the price that you received for those dogs into the temple until you know absolutely that it's safe, because it's probably a problematic issue. Those are the three possible things we have for that verse. Again, I just don't think it's going to be a male prostitute. I find that highly unlikely. So to me, it's more likely the pagan sacrifice, or in fact dog. And so if it's a dog, if you sell your dog, don't bring that money forward. It'd be an abomination. Again, I think it'll be defined for us a little bit later, but we do the best we can with what we have now, and that's how I see it right now, as those possibles.